McKinney Boyd head coach Don Drake joins me after a thrilling defensive game. The Boyd Broncos came on top 15-14 over Plano, and coach, it was a struggle to just get the ball in this game the way Plano controlled it, but you're able to make the most of your opportunities a little more so than Plano did.
No doubt. It was definitely a defensive struggle throughout the entire football game. Plano did a great job. I mean, offensively, their goal was to keep the ball on the ground, as we talked about last week, and to wind the clock and eat as much of that clock as they could. You know, they were snapping the football with a few seconds on the play clock every time and trying to make sure the time of possession was in their favor. They obviously wanted to limit our opportunities to have the ball in our hands and make the game as short as they could, and I thought they executed that plan very, very well all the way to the finish when we were able to create a couple of turnovers there late in the game that I believe became the difference in the ball game.
Well, we'll see all those highlights right now as we start in the first quarter. On one of their later drives in the first quarter, you weren't able to get a lot done on offense, a couple of 3-and-outs, and their quarterback Legal is going to end up taking it from 1 yard out for a 7-0 lead, but you were still able, despite that, to really do a good job of gaining the backfield throughout this game.
You know, again, I thought our defense played well. I mean, they had a couple of long drives that they put together that they turned into points, but the rest of the game, I thought we played really, really well. Offensively, we did struggle to be consistent with moving the football. There were a couple of possessions there that we were able to do some good things and put the ball into the end zone. The rest of the game, we struggled to kind of find some rhythm, and I think a large part of that had to do with how they were keeping the ball away from us.
Plano tried a fake punt in the second quarter to try and keep their drive alive. You stopped that play on special teams, and that'll lead to your first touchdown of the game, which is Curtis Ladd. He got a big third-down conversion this drive, and then an 11-yard touchdown pass to Kevin McCormick.
Yeah, I thought Curtis played really, really well. There you see him getting flushed out of the pocket, doing a great job of taking the ball down inside the 5 for us. A penalty pushed us back, and then he's going to do a great job again of keeping his feet alive in the pocket and finding Kevin for the touchdown.
You know, Plano, they were able to march down the field a couple of times, but they really never had the big play that beat your defense. You really contained them and only gave them some short yardage plays.
And I felt like that was one of the keys headed into the ball game. You know, we had to be able to control their running game, and we had to make sure that we didn't give up the big play in the passing game. And I think that we did a pretty good job of that. You know, our 2 corners played extremely well the other night. I thought we got some great play again out of Dalen Markham at safety, coming downhill and making some plays in the run game for us. And up front, we managed it pretty well.
Now, you don't get the extra point on your touchdown, so you're down 7-6, but you set up a 40-yard field goal from Jared Simic thanks to a big punt return and a couple runs from Driscoll.
Yeah, Jared Simic there that you see delivered a great field goal right there to give us the lead, and that lead held till the fourth quarter. So that was a huge play in the ball game. You know, for us to miss the extra point and then come back and kick the field goal to take the lead, that was big.
You get the ball to start off the third quarter, you have to punt it away, and then Plano goes on a 9-minute, 58-second drive. How frustrating is it on the sideline to see them convert third down after third down after fourth down?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, you know, because, you know, we ran, I think, 6 snaps in the third quarter. You know, so the entire quarter we had 6 snaps. And part of that's our fault, you know, for not executing better offensively. Part of that has to do with the approach they were taking in the game to making sure they were running the clock as much as possible and trying to shorten the ball game. So it was frustrating for us to be on the sideline that long, but fortunately for us, we came back and were able to answer in the fourth quarter and take the lead back.
You take the lead after they score the touchdown. You're going to get a big 55-yard touchdown run from Brian Driscoll. Really the only big play in terms of big yardage in the game.
Yeah, you know, and I'm a believer, you know, with a kid like Brian, you've just got to keep giving him the ball and keep giving him opportunities, and eventually something's going to break. And that's exactly what we did, and there's the run there for 55 yards that gave us the lead of 15-14. And they had done a good job of containing our running game for most of the night, but we just kept feeding it to him and believing in what we do, and our kids did a great job up front. We executed well and had a nice run for the score.
Plano knew that all they needed was a field goal to take the lead back, but your team forces 2 key turnovers in the fourth quarter, a rare fumble from their running back Campbell.
Yeah, we did end up with 2 turnovers on consecutive possessions for them, which was critical. You know, we got the ball back after the first one. You know, missed an opportunity in the passing game on 3rd down. Had to punt it back to them, gave them the ball on their own 1 to start their drive. They ended up at about our 35 or 40, and we're running the clock and running the football, and they dropped back to pass. We sacked him on 2 consecutive possessions, and this last one that you just saw was the turnover that sealed the game for us. We needed 1 more first down on the game. We had about 1:20 on the clock, and they had 2 timeouts. We handed the ball to Brian. He scored. Unfortunately, got called back for a holding call, and then the run that you see there was the one that got us the first down and allowed us the opportunity to kneel the football and come away with the victory.
Come away with the happy victory, 15-14. On that last series that Plano had, as they're trying to drive to score, they're on your 40-yard line. You get a big sack on first down to back them up, so they're forced into a passing situation. Ross Matisick, Tyler Ferguson get in on the quarterback, and Adam Brown with the fumble recovery.
Yeah, Adam sacked the quarterback on first down, you know, and then that set up the 2nd and long. They dropped back to throw again, and Ferguson flushed him out of the pocket, and he and Ross had the sack and stripped the ball, and Adam Brown comes up with the fumble recovery. So it was 2 huge plays back-to-back by Adam and those guys.
And they made plays like that the whole game long, not necessarily in the turnover department, but Plano, you know they're going to run the ball. You did a nice job to stop them from breaking out on a big run like Brian had late in the 4th quarter.
No doubt. You know, they did a really good job of containing the running game. You know, while we couldn't get off the field on 3rd down sometimes, which we wish we had, we didn't give up the big play, either through the air or on the ground, and that ended up being very critical to our success.
Most important stat of the game for your team was 0, as in the number of turnovers that you gave up. You know, your quarterback, Curtis Ladd, he does a great job protecting the football. Brian does a nice job to make sure that he's not going to get stripped from behind. That's really the kind of thing that made the difference in this game against Plano, is they turned the ball over twice. You didn't.
I agree, and I'm going to go ahead and knock on wood because we've been doing a pretty good job of that, and hopefully we'll continue to do so through the remainder of the season. But that turnover ratio has been huge in our favor, you know, over the last five weeks. And so we've talked about that every week in terms of our ability to take the ball away and not give the ball up. And so hopefully that trend will continue. That's something that we consistently focus on every day in practice. So we've got to continue to have that go in our favor.
Yeah, you're pretty much going to need that trend to continue against your next opponent, the Allen Eagles. They're ranked number 8 in the state. And, you know, a lot can be made of if a team is ranked or not, how big of a game it is. This is for basically who has the driver's seat in terms of winning this district. What do your guys need to do in order to win this district?
Well, I think we've got to continue to play the way we've played the last 5 weeks. You know, we've got to be physical, we've got to play tough, and we've got to execute offensively. Obviously, defensively, we've got to do a good job of containing the running game, and again, not giving up big plays through the air. You know, it is Allen. They're a really good football team. You know, we got to make sure we don't get beat off the bus. You know, you start focusing too much on state rankings and reputation and all those things. A lot of times you can convince yourself that you can't win before you actually get to the ball game and have to play it. So, you know, for us, it's about being focused on ourselves. What do we have to do to continue to improve and to get better? And realize that Allen's just another opponent for us this week that we've got to go out and we've got to go compete against and play well, and then see what happens.
Is it a little easier going into a big game such as this one, and you're the underdog rather than the expected favorite in the game?
Well, I think so. I mean, I would rather be the underdog. Let me tell you that. I mean, I think that, you know, in terms of kids, I think that they understand that, you know, when the odds are stacked against them, that tends to be when they play their best, you know. And so they realize there's not going to be a whole lot of votes in our favor this week when they come out in terms of who's going to pick the game. But our kids don't worry about that a whole lot. You know, again, it's more about having the opportunity to go and compete and to prove yourself, and that's something that we look forward to.
Kyler Murray, their sophomore quarterback, that's now the starting quarterback. He took over this job throughout the year for Allen, and he has 6 touchdowns and 1 interception, so he can throw the ball well, but he also runs it well as well. You have to kind of watch both sides of the ball.
You do, and that's probably the scariest thing about him is he does such a good job of running the football that even when he drops back to throw, you've got to worry about containing him on the ground. And so He's a true dual threat kid, and that does make it a little bit hard to defend.
Allen averages about 40 points a game and only gives up 15 points a game. Your team averages 30 points a game, gives up 22, so a little less in both categories, but still very good numbers for both teams. How do you make sure that those statistics that Allen has accumulated throughout the year become smaller because of the way you play in this game?
Well, again, statistics can be deceiving, and I know a lot of folks put a lot of merit into statistics and all of that, but statistics are built upon people you play and matchups and all of those kind of things, and so we don't get caught up a whole lot in statistics. The only really statistic that matters is what's on that scoreboard in the win-loss column at the end of the football game. And so for us, we're going to do what we feel like we have to do to make sure that that's in our favor at the final. So, we're not concerned a whole lot about what they average per game and what they give up per game. For us, it's about what do we need to do to continue to improve, continue to work, to be prepared to go out there and play the best football game we've played to date.
Really what does more than statistics is what you see on film. I know you've had a chance to watch some film on Allen. Have you noticed a particular weakness that you might be able to expose against their team?
No, I don't think they're weak in any area. They're very, very strong defensively. They've got a great defensive front. They run to the football well. They're a good football program. They're where they are because they're a good football program. So, that in and of itself tells you that, there's not a whole lot of weaknesses there. But again, we've got to be more focused on us and our execution and our responsibilities than about who we're matched up with on Friday night.
It really comes down to who dictates their style in this game is going to end up the winner, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. It's going to come down to who's going to make more plays, And I think a large part of the game, too, is going to come down to who responds better to when the other team does make a play. In other words, we go make a play, how does Allen respond to that? Allen makes a play, how do we respond to that? You'll see a lot of football games where once the momentum starts to change, the other team can't change it back, and that's going to be critical. Fortunately for us, we've been in a couple of hard-fought, close fourth-quarter football games over the last 5 weeks, and our kids have been able to have the momentum. We've lost it, and we've gained the momentum back. That was critical the other night against Plano when they scored in the fourth quarter there to take the lead. It's important that our kids go back and grab that momentum back and do what's necessary to go get the victory. So, I think that will rear its head again on Friday night. It's going to be very, very important to be very resilient and very mentally tough in terms of that football game because they're a good football team. They're going to make some plays. How we respond to that is going to be important.
One thing's for sure, the home crowd's going to be able to give you a big help in taking down Allen Friday night. It's going to be at Ron Post Stadium, number 8 in the state, Allen, coming in to take on the McKinney Boyd Broncos. The winner moves to 3-0 in the district and has a chance to really be in control of their own destiny and possibly winning a district title. Another edition of Sports Talk is in the books. A big thank you to all the coaches for their time on the show today. Again, the McKinney Lions could virtually clinch a playoff spot with a win Friday over Plano West, as well as a Plano East loss. The McKinney North Bulldogs need some help to get back in the playoff picture, but first they try to take care of business on the road against Greenville. And the McKinney Boyd Broncos have a showdown at Ron Post Stadium with state-ranked Allen. The winner is in the driver's seat for the District 10 5A title. From all of us here at Sports Talk, I'm Tyler Sloan. Join us next week as we review the exciting Friday night McKinney ISD football action on Sports Talk.